Greetings and salutations. This is Ital Iman for Media 23 Serious News, breaking down the walls of illusion that you explore the practicality of reality. We are here debunking the lie the Vatican created Islam to control the Middle East, undermine Judaism and Christianity, or dominate trade and prophecy. This sounds dramatic, but it collapses immediately once you line it up with actual timelines, languages, and power structures. The timeline problem. The lie already breaks here. Islam begins publicly in 610 CE. Quranic revelation to Muhammad in Arabia. The Vatican, as an institution, does not exist yet. The Lateran Treaty was established. The Lateran Treaty that establishes Vatican City was in the year 1929. The Bishop of Rome existed, yes, but no centralized intelligence apparatus. How was all this possible when the treaty was in the year 1929 and Islam started at 610? No centralized intelligence apparatus was in place, no global reach, no control of Arabia. By contrast, Mecca and Medina were outside Roman and Byzantine control. Arabia was considered peripheral, unruly, and ungovernable. You can't engineer religion in a land you don't control, don't speak, and actively fear entering. Where the lie actually starts, the root are European, Christian, polemics, not historical fact. 8th through 12th centuries, Christian writers threatened by Islam. They were threatened by the rapid spread of Islam, could not accept that. A non-Christian religion defeated Byzantine and Persian empires, produced advanced law, science, architecture. So they invented explanations like Muhammad was a heretical monk. Islam was a corrupt Christianity. Muslims were secretly guided by Christian heretics. This is psychological defense, not history. If we did create it and it beats us, then our theology might be wrong. So we must have created it. The Vatican control version is modern 19th through 20th century, and this is key. The specific claim that the Vatican created Islam does not appear in early Islamic sources, Byzantine records, papal archives, medieval Muslim Christianity correspondence. It appears late in 19th century anti-Catholic Protestant tracts, European colonial propaganda, and then later in the Afrocentric literature. pseudo-esoteric YouTube era mashups. It's a hybrid conspiracy blending anti-Catholic fear, anti-Arab racism, anti-Semitic tropes, anti-colonial rage, misdirected. So, who benefits from this lie? This is the most important question. It benefits colonial powers. It divides Christians and Muslims, extremist sects, delegitimize Islam. It benefits occult conspiracy grifters. Everything becomes Rome. Modern culture warriors simplify complex history into villains. It harms historical literacy, Muslim-Christian solidarity, African and Arab agency. So, truth itself, it turns real imperial crimes, crusades, colonialism, modern geopolitics into fantasy. These little fantasy plots, which lets actual power escapes scrutiny. You may ask, and I know I did, why the lie persists emotionally? Because it feels satisfying. Rome did manipulate religions later on. The church did absorb pagan systems. The Vatican did wield secretive power. So people reverse project that power backward in time. But projections is not evidence. So the historical reality is that Islam emerges from Arabian monotheism, interacting with Judaism, Eastern Christianity, local Arab traditions. And what people don't realize is way before the pale Arabs claimed Islam, Arabia was black. That's what they don't, it's one of the equations that they leave out of it. You know, evil is ignorance, oftentimes not known as to be so. I coined that phrase back in the 80s, and it's applicable here. So this vibration develops independently, often in direct conflict with Rome. The Vatican spends centuries reacting, not directing. If Rome had created Islam, it wouldn't lose Levant. It wouldn't lose North Africa. It wouldn't lose Spain for centuries. I.e., Spain for centuries declared Islam a theological enemy, launched crusades against its own creation. Why would the Vatican launch crusades against its own creation if they created Islam? That's not how empires behave. So why does this matter, especially for spiritual communities? This lie robs Muslims of authorship, Arabs of agency, and Africans of history. It replaces a people encountered God and built a civilization. It replaces that with they were tricked by Europeans. That's not radical. That's colonial thinking disguised as resistance. So let us look at who popularized the conspiracy that the Vatican created Islam. Online, they were started And let's look at why it spread despite of having no historical basis. The central source is one Alberto Riviera. The single most important figure behind this conspiracy, especially online, is Alberto Riviera, a controversial anti-Catholic activist whose claims are widely cited on conspiracy blogs and YouTube. Key points about his claim is that Riviera was an outspoken anti-Catholic writer and speaker in the mid-late 20th century. He claimed to be a former Jesuit priest and often said he had insider knowledge of Vatican plans, though his background and claims are widely disputed and not supported by credible evidence. Among many outlandish allegations he attributed to the Vatican was the idea that Islam was a deliberate creation of the Catholic Church to undermine Jews and Christians. These claims were repeated in fringe religious publications and conspiracy forums without verifiable sources. In short, Riviera's writings appear to be the root of the specific Vatican-created Islam, the story that's now circulating online, even though there's no historical evidence to support it. So this allegation has been amplified through conspiracy media. So after Riviera's claims appeared, the idea spread widely through a publication called Chick, is C-H-I-C-K, Chick Publications, a fundamentalist tract, people that pass out these little papers. Some of Riviera's stories were published or republished by religious comic publishers known for sensationalist content, which helped them gain traction among certain fundamentalist Christian audiences. This conspiracy spread on blogs and podcasts. Websites devoted to conspiracies have used Riviera's narrative as proof of hidden history, sometimes connecting it to other unfounded theories about the Jesuits, Freemasonry, or global power structures. We have the social media and the video platforms, YouTube, Rumble, WordPress blogs, and similar platforms host numerous videos and post repeated Riviera's theories, often framing it as suppressed truth or secret history. So these platforms never provide original evidence. They just echo Riviera's claim. It's like a bird chewing up his baby's worms and spitting them into the baby's mouth. This regurgitation cycle, and that's how most of the black people get it. So why does this false narrative spread online? The Vatican created Islam conspiracy persists online for several psychological and social reasons. One, it appeals emotionally. People often find conspiratorial explanations satisfying because they give a simple villain and a hidden plan, even when the underlying claim is false. So this is called confirmation bias. Some audience are already inclined toward anti-Catholic and anti-Islamic and anti-establishment views. And they are more likely to share sensational claims that confirm their worldview. Most fundamentalists are like this. So we have, when it's on the internet, then the algorithm amplifies this. So many readers or viewers, they lack background in early Islamic and Christian history, making them more vulnerable to accepting bold claims that sound authoritative. So the reality check: historians and credible scholars or religion reject this conspiracy because it contradicts well-established evidence about the origin of Islam and the history of the Catholic Church. So the claim doesn't come from academic sources, but from unverified personal testimonies propagated on the internet by fundamentalists that hates Islam for some reason. So let us explore this pipeline, just not individuals, because this lie survived by hopping communities. This is a lie that was orchestrated, that was divine, i.e. designed to do a certain thing. The original seeder, Alberto Riviere, 1970s through 1980s, he dropped the seed. So everything tracks back to Alberto Riviere, who claimed to be a former Jesuit priest. So if he say he's a Jesuit, everybody that's into conspiracy is going to believe that he knows what he's talking about, but he never produced any credentials. So his story actually changes over time. There's no documentation, no corroboration, no archived evidence. So why does this matter? He framed the Vatican as an all-time puppet master capable of engineering world religions retroactively. That template became reusable. Riviere did not initially target Muslims. His audience was anti-Catholic Protestant American. Islam was just a tool in a larger Rome is evil mythos. So after that, this minister, this fundamentalist, this second amplifier came along with Chick Publications, C-H-I-C-K Publications, Jack Chick, and the Chick Tracks. That was the second phase. This is where the lie got its legs. It started walking, spreading the message. So it was a comic style pamphlet, mass distribution. This was mass distribution to churches, prisons, and street corners. This is emotional storytelling. So this is evidence. So why did that work? Visual override. Visuals, they say, overrides logic. So this ex-insider's testimony, it bypasses all skepticism. Anti-Catholic, apocalyptic stuff sells real fast. So by the 1990s, the idea that Rome secretly created religions to control prophecy was normalized in fringe Christian circles. The internet mutations around 2005 through 2015 got real dangerous then. The early YouTube, WordPress blogs, prison-based religious forums, pseudo-historic websites, man, the fire is really burning. The wind is really blowing the flames. So the lie, so it changed. What changed? The lie was detached from Protestant theology and repackaged into a new framing. So Islam was created to control black people. That was about the final phase of it, because they know the blacks are waking up and they don't have any education. They hadn't studied. They just hit the internet. So let's say Islam was created to control black people, not knowing that Islam was started by black people. And as I told you in my first video of this subject, Thoth, which was an Egyptian god, created Islam to combat the crusades of the Christians. The Bible and those books are allegories, metaphors, and similes, just like Jesus wasn't a reality but a character in a script, so was Muhammad. Now a lot of fundamentalist Muslims will get upset about that, but we're not going to worry about that because we're dealing with education, knowledge, wisdom, experience. And they start saying Rome used Arab, the Rome supposedly used the Arabs as weapons. Muhammad was an agent, an invention of Rome. If you just read the Quran, you would know better than that. But they've been taught that the Quran is a book of the devil. This version drops citations entirely and replaces them with tone, certainty, repetition. And once something is repeated enough times online, it feels historical, and we all know how that is. So the Afrocentric and the prison pipeline started spreading around 2010. So this part is very sensitive, but it's very necessary to understand. So certain Hebrew Israelite offshoots, fringe Afrocentric YouTube channels picked up on it. And that's what I'm combating here currently. So it's got into the prison theological ecosystems, anti-colonial spaces with weak sources. So this caused a real distrust of European powers. So, real history of Vatican abuse. So, it's true that the Vatican have abused knowledge, and the colonialists caused a lot of trauma. But we must understand, and we must read, and basically we must know that these books like Bible and other books basically are allegories, metaphors, and similes designed to reveal hidden wisdom or to conceal hidden wisdom. So once these things get into the algorithms, it's all over, this hidden force that we can't see. You know, then the grifters and all these people that's basically evil anyway get a hold to it. And the African American is always, they don't really study things. If they hear something and it's repeated enough times, they will pick up on it. Like if a system comes out and says 911 was an inside job, everybody's going to believe that without really knowing, without even studying and see what actually happened. So we hope we have caused you to want to go look into this deeper. And if you would gravitate over to my site, YouTube channel, you will learn a lot of things. So just take your time and study. It's all about studying. Then you can go forward and know the truth about these things. I am Ital Iman for Media 23, and you are now into peace.